Good evening. Welcome to the third episode, season 5 of The Leader's Edge. Tonight, very special because it's the anniversary. It's the first anniversary of The Leader's Edge. And for this special occasion, we have invited the very first speaker that we had for our talk show. You see, ladies and gentlemen, leadership is always defied and tested, especially during unforeseen hard situations. Any leader has been exposed to one-of-a-kind challenging situations and unprecedented crisis since the start of the pandemic period last year, and no one can predict when it will end. Uncertainties exacerbates the challenges, difficulties, fear, and worries, requiring not only decision making, but agility, creativity, innovativeness, resilience, and discernment. We explore how a leader navigates the variable factors in traversing uncharted courses with sense of purpose, authentic relationship, transformative actions, positivity, and sustainable value-adding impact on the lives of people. They are being led during the pandemic. And this will be explained by our speaker. The leader serves from the heart. So let me now introduce properly, or rather reintroduce properly, Roberto Obet Policarpio, Fellow of People Management. Obet, as he is fondly called, is a four-termer National Board of Director of the People Management Association of the Philippines. He was the 2013 P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C National Vice President and Conference Chairman of the 50th P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C Annual Conference, the 2015 National P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C President. He handled various chairmanships of P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C committees, and he has been active as a volunteer in P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C since 1996 to present. Accorded with Fellow in People Management FPM title in June 2018 by the Philippine Society of Fellows. 36 years of experience in human resource management, inclusive of his 20 years HR career and work in San Miguel Corporation. Handled HR assignments in China, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. 13 years as chairman of the Parish Pastoral Council of Sacred Heart of Jesus Parish, Malabon City. Leaders as viewers and fans and followers, let us welcome back for his first anniversary talk, Mr. Your favorite as well as mine, Roberto Obet Policarpio.
Hello, Tita Dina. It's so nice to see you again, virtually speaking. I'm very happy to be back after a year. So happy first anniversary to your team, to Dino, and to everyone who is behind this program. And I've been following all your webinars, and thank you very much for your previous speakers. And I also learned so many things from them. So how are you these days?
Well, I tell you, I can hardly wait to when this next normal will be. Really, it's a never ending for me. It's like it's almost never ending because it's just too long. It's 1.5 years now that that we have been isolated. I can hardly wait. So many times I use my imagination
All
as if
right.
I'm traveling. I'm traveling already.
So, what keeps you busy?
Really, uh, number one, and Dino and I are committed to this, is our weekly talk show, The Leader's Edge. And believe it or not, Obet, such is the grace of God. And I really tell you this. Last year was dismal for the training industry, but we did not stop working. But there is one thing we did more than working. And you can understand from the heart. Pray. We just continue to pray because this is not like before. We prayed before, but we prayed much more. I mean, intensely this time. And you know what, Obet, believe it or not, such is the wonder and the glory and the power of our God. Believe it or not, there's almost no day where we don't have a webinar. I mean, before we had, but it's not every day, but we're having every day webinars. This in a month, for example, starting this year, there's only like 2, 3, or 4 days in a month where we don't have webinars. And I said, oh my gosh, where did this come from? Guess what? Guess what? You know, from up there. Because we believed and we prayed, and when we prayed, we believed.
Where? Ah, amen.
Yes,
Correct. So I'm so happy to hear that great news, especially
yes,
the blessing, and
yes.
days,
Praise God.
and especially during this pandemic period, everything seems to be endless, right? Yes, everything seems to be endless. But as
Yes,
we know in life, there is always night and day. And definitely, when we talk of leadership, everyone who is in the leadership position, especially of a kind challenging situations and unprecedented crisis at the start of the pandemic period. So in other words, leadership more than ever is necessary.
Past President Obed, it is so good to have you back as our anniversary speaker. You were the first one who started the ball rolling, and you know what? I'm telling you, we picked the right person because that really, even from America all the way to America, Australia, New Zealand, I already have so many viewers globally. They were quite impressed from beginning up to what we have currently. And it is just fitting that you are our anniversary speaker. So welcome back, our favorite speaker. Yes.
Of course, Tito Tina. I'm so excited and it's an honor again to be with you and with your awesome team. Congratulations to everybody, especially to you and to Dino. Happy first anniversary. So I'm back again. Thanks God that we are still alive and kicking. And I think
Yes.
we have mission to fulfill as we move on in life. And as they say, life is a never ending journey. That's why through your webinars, you continuously impart concepts, principles, and different methodologies on how each and everyone will be able to cope. Because I believe in this, never stop learning because life never stops teaching,
Yes.
right?
I love that.
So,
Yes.
like what you're seeing on the screen, we are in an endless journey, but it depends on our perspective in life. You know, Dina, as they say in life, we must continue our journey. And I believe in this saying. never stop learning in life because life never stops teaching. And your advocacy through the various webinars is one of the effective tools that your group is doing. And I believe that during these days, any leader has been exposed to one of a kind, challenging situations, and unprecedented crises since the start of the pandemic in 2020. And no one can predict until when it will end. But the end does not justify the means, as we know. So like our journey, just continue, move on. Ah, enjoy the journey more than the destination. Because life always offers the strike of the dawn. And when the dawn strikes, it gives you more blessings, more opportunities. Day is longer than the darkness of night. And no matter how dark the night is, guaranteed the sunshine will be on you and your loved ones. And the sunshine means it's God's graces. So uncertainties exacerbates during this challenging, difficult time. And definitely there are fear, worries, right? Requiring not only decision making, but agility, creativity, innovativeness, resilience, and this is the most important thing, discernment more than decision making. So in this webinar, we will explore together how a leader navigates the variable factors in traversing uncharted courses. It's not a straight path. It is a long and winding journey, but it depends on you on how you will make that journey more meaningful, more exciting, and definitely more productive. So it's important that we have to always define and hold on that sense of purpose. Why are you moving on in this journey? Second, we need to create, develop, and sustain. The most important thing is sustainability when it comes to authentic relationship. Because nobody can be in a leadership position, not as a title, no, but as a relationship. But relationship requires authenticity so that there will be transformative actions when you fulfill your role as a leader. And in the process, it's essential that you need to be positive always, no matter what, because this is one way to achieve sustainable value adding impact, not on your life, but in the lives of people around you. So as a leader, during this pandemic period, there's only one principle. A leader serves from the heart during this pandemic. And probably you are wondering why there is P.A.N.D.E.M.I.C. What does this mean? And I will share with you these imperatives so that a leader serves from the heart. What's on your mind, my dear friend Dina? What's on your mind?
Right now, I can see a dot, a large dot.
A dot.
Uh-uh.
What's the color of the dot?
Black.
What's the color of the dot? Black. Was that
Yes.
the first thing that you saw on the screen? So what does it mean for you?
Yes. It's like when everything is like space, like white space, and then you see one item there, no matter how small it is, your eyes gravitate towards it. And I got focused on it. Yeah, because everything else is white. Now I see a dot, a black dot.
Why do you think so that you automatically focus on that one small dot
Yes,
versus the white space that is larger than the black small dot?
yes, because the white space, it didn't mean anything to me. It's just a space, white. Whereas that black dot, I got what it captivated my attention. Here's a dot out of nowhere. There's a black dot. So my eyes gravitated towards it.
You're correct. And I believe that our webinar participants, most of them automatically saw that black small dot. But on the other hand, I believe there are also some participants who saw automatically the white space, which is bigger than the small dot. So there is no right or wrong answer in this exercise. But it only means that each and every one of us has a unique and different way of looking at things. It's like an art, right? That's why they say beauty lies on the beholder. It may be beautiful and awesome for you, but it may not for me. But what may be beautiful and awesome for me may not be beautiful for you, right? Because each one of us is unique. But this exercise only affirms that the way we look at life, it depends on our outlook. It's a mindset. It's a perspective that is our own. And that perspective cannot be dictated to you by anyone. But the outlook in life will somehow differentiate, will somehow spell out the outcome, right? The outlook will definitely define the outcome. Our mindset, our attitude definitely will have an influence on the kind of actions that we will do, especially during this pandemic period. So the black dot may represent something that is not beautiful, or it may be something that is good. It depends. The white space, it depends also on how a person will define it. But definitely, no matter where we are now, no matter what kind of difficulty and struggle and sufferings, in the midst of everything, I would say that is just a simple black dot, a simple black dot in the middle of a bigger white space. Never give up because that is just a simple small black dot. And there is a bigger arena that represents the white space for you to move that black dot, that small dot, and ensure that that small dot will not overpower the white space. Again, outlook in relation to outcome. You need to have input so that you have to have good output. And definitely, we need to make use of different colors. But if you mix all colors, what color will result to? Tita Dina, if you mix all colors,
You mix all colors,
what will be the resultant?
it will probably turn black.
Yes, correct. If you mix everything, it will result to black. So in other words, in life, you don't have to mix everything, all problems. You need to explore and don't be afraid to explore, because it is only through exploration that you'll be able to discover something new. And we saw a lot of individuals, a lot of businesses who transformed themselves, their businesses. This is the word pivot, right? And the word pivot was not a common word prior to pandemic, but the word pivot is there, isn't it? So for me, it's not simply bouncing backward. For me, it's more of bouncing forward. Bouncing forward. Why should I bounce backward? If I bounce backward, it's just like this. Point. So rather lose my energy towards bouncing backward, I use it to bouncing forward so that I'm able, to make use of that remaining energy by using different approaches. And there's nothing wrong to ask questions, especially from the people whom you think can really inspire you and guide you. Okay, no matter where they are. Because we are in the same storm, but we are in the different boats of life. Huh? We are in the same storm, but we are in different boats of life. I don't believe that we are all in the same boat in the same storm. I don't believe that, because some are in speedboat, some are in yacht, some are in big ships, but others, some are in ordinary bangka. You need to paddle. Some don't have the bangka in the strict sense of the word. They only have a makeshift raft or something that will make them afloat using styrofoam, right? So everything that I'm saying, everything that we're experiencing is part of change. And change happens exponentially more than ever. That's why we always hear the word VUCA world. And VUCA is no longer a new term, especially during this pandemic. It's an old term, right? But the VUCA description simply say that we are in a changing environment. So again, it depends on one's creativity, innovation, discipline, determination to create a new painting of life using different colors, but never mix all colors, because that will result to nothing. Nothing means black. And during this pandemic, we saw a lot of challenges, and probably you and me and everyone in this webinar is not exempted from the impact of pandemic. If there's one common thing that we all experienced, especially last year during the lockdown in March, April, and May, we all experienced cabin fever. It's not a physical type of fever that we used to experience. You are sick. Your temperature is 38, 39, 40. No, that's not. Cabin fever is a state of feeling that you can do something, but you are not allowed to do it because you are confined within a particular setting, and you don't know when that will end. And until now, we still experience this cabin fever. And how would we know if we are experiencing this cabin fever? In one word, if you experience everything, two or more, or even one, right? We are agitated. And I think we experience this, and we will continuously experience this. And we should be very grateful to God if one way or the other we are able to overcome these sources of being agitated, right? So, one common thing is the unemployment. Now, syempre, if you are unemployed, definitely there is emotional disorder. Diba? And in a way, you also lost your self-esteem. Now, probably some of the listeners, it's good to be true, di ba? Or probably they say, no, you can easily say that because you are exempted. I say, no, I'm not exempted because I also experience almost all of these things. But again, it depends on my outlook. There was a point in my life last year that I was unemployed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happened to me. I tell you, it was a big surprise. But God is so good to me. He did not only tap my shoulder, but He shook me and tested my faith and trust in Him. Again, God did not only tap my shoulder, but He shook my entire being just to test my faith and trust in Him. And now, I'm back in the ball game. In fact, after 2 weeks last year, from being unemployed, I was back in the ball game. Because I believe where I am now, God has a special mission for me. That's why it's just, you know, okay not to be okay. Huh? Again, it's okay not to be okay, but watch out and we have to guard ourselves. It's not okay to prolong your overstaying in not being okay. Ah, because uncertainty is always part of life. If we don't manage that, then we will be stressed. And that stress will escalate to anxiety. You need to have strong support system. And to start with, you need to have a strong relationship with God through prayer. And that prayer is the most powerful means to ensure that you have a stable spirituality. Ah, again, that prayer is our communication line with God to have a stable spirituality. Because if we have a weak spiritual life, then everything will easily crumble down. No matter how rich you are, no matter how famous you are, no matter how competent you are, if your spirituality is not the foundation of everything you have in life, everything will easily crumble down. Now, the question is, does absolute weight matters or not? Guys, if you have something in front of you within your reach, please hold on to it. Grab it. All right? Grab it. Tita Dina, you can grab anything. Okay. Now, regardless whatever that thing is, can you hold it as high as this? Can you hold it like this? Okay. I'll grab something. Okay. Let me grab something. I'll grab, do you know this? I'll grab something.
Okay,
Okay.
it must be transparent because okay,
Ayan.
that's better. Yeah.
This is Stitch. Okay?
Uh,
My daughter wants Stitch as her favorite Disney character. Okay?
okay.
So you hold that object, whether it's pencil, cell phone, key, or even paper. Hold it. Can you move it a little bit higher? All right. So maintain holding it during the entire webinar. Regardless whether you're holding a pencil or a paper. Now the question is, does absolute weight matters or not? Definitely you have the answer. Well, it depends on how long you hold it. So in the same manner, it's okay not to be okay. But it depends on how long you hold it in being not okay. Don't overstay, move on. Of course, nalungkot ka dahil may nangyari. Diba? Nalungkot ka dahil may nangyari. Umiyak ka, nasaktan ka, nawalan ka ng trabaho, nalugi ka sa negosyo, nagsarado ang kumpanya, nawalan ka ng customers. But move on. Right, Tita Dina?
Yes.
Because everything will easily be gone. But always remember, there is a divine being who is with us through and through. So as in Isaiah, when you go through deep waters, I am be with you. So pause and reflect amidst these challenging times. So how do we pause? Simply pray and pray and pray. And more than talking and requiring God to give us everything, I think we need to listen. Listen what is his message to us. And it's only through listening by prayer that we will be able to know what is his message for you and me. Trust God with all your heart, right? With all your mind and understanding. Because I believe he will guide us through. Because he is most powerful than anyone and anything. Kita nyo itong pandemic, no matter how rich you are, no matter how popular you are, the pandemic easily take it away. Take it away. Take it away. Walang piniling mayaman, mahirap po yan. Walang piniling maganda at pangit yan. Walang piniling lalaki at babae yan. Basta tinamaan ka ng pandemic, quits na tayo. Tama ba? Okay. But there is one thing that will make right click, that right click, and that right click, and that is your faith. Okay? Your faith in God keep us steady in the stormy sea of change. Again, remember, we are in the same storm, but we have different way of coping it. And the way we cope to that together is only through our faith and trust in Him. This is only a season, but it is only God who can put an end, who can give that period to as to when this season of pandemic will end. Until such time, humanity learn together the message of God. This pandemic, dahil maraming kapitalista, maraming tao irresponsibly failed to manage the beautiful creations of God. And pandemic is not created by God, it is created by man. That's why we have to go back to basics. We have to take good care of Mother Earth, right? So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Remember, God loves us. Come to me, all you are who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. In other words, the yoke, no, that upon us was seen, okay, from the very beginning of creation. But that yoke will only be lightened only if we continuously to be humble enough and go back to God, right? For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So let's go back to Him, okay? And don't abuse and misuse what God has given to you and me. So like the caterpillar has a choice in life, right? So each of us has that choice. It depends on how we will grab that choice. But remember, for every choice that we make, there is always a corresponding consequence. That we will only know the consequence after the fact that we made the choice. Now the question is, have I made the right choice or the wrong choice? Did I grab that choice? Di ba sabi, opportunity knock only once? Probably, but if you continue to believe that, then probably opportunity might not only knock once or twice or thrice. But it is us who must look for that opportunity and don't wait for opportunity to knock on you once, twice, thrice, or even more. So like the caterpillar, continuously to look for the right choices in life. Okay? The right choices in life. So that you can now move on and crawl slowly to your destination. Why the caterpillar continuously eat and eat and eat? Because part of the process, he or she will create his cocoon. Huh? His cocoon in life. Imagine the caterpillar will create his cocoon or her cocoon wherein there is darkness. So like you and me, we are in the cocoon of life. Why? Because this cocoon of life being brought by pandemic simply affirms that this is part of change. Okay? But the caterpillar never stay longer inside the cocoon, right? Why? Because part of the process of the caterpillar, soon the caterpillar will become a beautiful butterfly. In other words, let nature take its own course. And when I say nature take its own course, it's simply put, it is change. So whether we like it or not, we have to have change. We need to manage change. We have to face change. And we don't wait change to happen. In other words, we create the right change for us. And definitely, change is a fact of life. Diba? So again, it depends on our outlook. What kind of output do you want to have? It depends on the input because you have already defined in your mind what is the output. As Dr. Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind as one of the habits of highly effective people. And always look at the beautiful side of life. No matter how dark the cocoon is, the caterpillar looks forward one day. He or she will come out of the cocoon like a beautiful butterfly. In other words, change is a source of hope and a new beginning. Right? So, like a beautiful butterfly, we need to transform ourselves. And transformation requires process. Beautiful, right? So that we are able now to mingle with other beautiful butterflies and move on to a higher mission, a higher level of achievement wherein we suck the nectar of each flower and transfer that pollen from one flower to the other so that life continues to become beautiful as your heart, and as beautiful as you are in the eyes of God. Tita Dina, you are so beautiful in inside and outside. That's true. So what's your insight, Tita Dina, at this point?
Okay, I'm looking at the butterflies, and they are not uniform. They have different shapes, different colors, and yet they are not what we call in a fierce fight. They're not fighting each other. Each of them just finds a flower to where they can do their thing, and by nature they just flit from flower to flower. So it seems to me it's also some kind of metaphor for people that we can be different, and yet we can also be the same. In some ways we're different, and in other ways we're also the same. And
Correct.
we go through life just like others. It's in our own way.
That's true. So it means that we can coexist with each one,
Yeah.
isn't it? And I believe everybody start from being dependent in one way or the other. Especially nung bata pa tayo, when we're starting our career, our business. But sooner or later, we graduated from being dependent on someone else. We need to become independent. But no man is an island. We need to coexist with others. And that is the principle of interdependence. You may have something that I don't have, but I have something that you may have, that you may don't have. But if we join our forces together, our talents and skills together, you will fill in the gap in me. And in the process, I'll fill in the gap in you. So 1 plus 1 is not 2, but 1 plus 1 is equals to 3 through our synergy, through our collaboration. So in other words, there is that abundant mentality versus than scarce mentality, right? And during this pandemic, I think no matter how small your contribution is, it doesn't matter. What matters most is that you give that from your heart, right? So, yung mga maliliit na bagay, pag pinagsama-sama, nagiging malaki. Because during this pandemic, leadership is being defied and tested more than ever. And to be a leader does not need a formal title. Don't need a position. Position belongs only to a corporate structure, to a formalized organization. People definitely will follow the manager, the boss, because of the position. But people, whether you don't have that title, they will follow you more than the manager and the boss. Why? Because they don't only see your function, but they go beyond. And what's that? Your leadership. That's why it's important that we need to ask ourselves, how my actions live up to my core principles, and how my behaviors measure up to my core values as a leader. So these are two interfold dimension of leadership: living up and measuring up, living up in actions as being felt and experienced and seen by others, vis-a-vis your own behavior that is anchored on your values. In other words, as a leader, you are not exempted and you don't have the privilege to have that double standard, right? So no matter what the cause is, you will you will continuously accompany someone in the journey under the heat of the sun, even if you know you have nothing anymore to give other than your being. You will still stick through and through with that someone as you traverse the desert of life. And we know the earth is not a pure and simple desert. At the end of the desert line, there is life. Now, the question is, why do I lead? Probably you ask yourself, why do I lead? Why am I leading others? And I believe if we anchor our leadership through this verse, that in humility, no, we serve others above ourselves. And we have that primordial concern, not for our own, but for others. And I think this is the essence of leadership. And because of this, leadership entails a lot of competencies, of character traits. And I coined these elements using leadership for LEADERSHINP. And probably you can add more. And because of leadership, I believe there are four imperative operative verbs. Four imperative operative verbs. And I cannot become a leader if I don't know how to inspire. And for me, inspiration is not in words, but it is more in action. As you walk through the corridors of life, as you walk inside that office without saying anything, people will be inspired automatically the moment you step inside any room, any hall, any house, any organization without saying anything. They feel it. Why? Because they can see that you have that positivity by motivating them. And there are three levels of motivation. The first and basic is external motivation. This is something temporal, or this is something that is short period. An example of external motivation: money, 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 candy, trophy, public recognition, promotion. But one danger, if your leader fails to give that external motivation, you will feel bad because you expect something. And those things can easily be taken away from you. The next level of motivation is internal or intrinsic motivation. With or without the external motivation, I don't care. I do it because out of love. Why are you working in the first place? Why are you extending your work period over time? Why are you commuting? Especially you will be exposed to the pandemic, to the COVID. Why are you doing it? Not because for money, not because for something else, but for someone else. And that is for your loved ones, right? And that is intrinsic motivation. Now, the highest form of motivation is what I call transcendental motivation, meaning you go beyond. So as a leader, you don't anymore make a chance. You simply give it all. You guide everybody. You share what you know. You give everything to them. In other words, in transcendental motivation, you serve, right? You don't consider them as a threat to your career, to your position, to your business. Diba? Paying it forward, simply put, paying it forward. That is transcendental motivation. You will do everything for free without expecting anything in return. Even if they don't give you external motivation or a recognition, you don't care because you're transcendentally motivated. You do it out of love in terms of service. Next is you easily persuade them because when I say persuasion, it's not coercion. Naturally, they will perform. Without performance, you can never say they are persuaded. Why? Because they are not motivated. Why? Simply put, they are not inspired. Kaya, importante ito. These three important prerequisite: inspire, motivate, persuasion, so that people will perform. Okay? From the heart, because you are able to make use of these elements. No? A leader without a vision is not a leader. Hindi pa pwedeng magsimula ka agad. Sige, let's move on. Let's traverse this mountain. In fact, Tita Dina, the first session that I had, the first webinar of your program was the Odyssey of my
Yeah.
leadership mountain. Remember?
Yes.
Wherein I discussed the levels of leadership. So in the same manner, ganun din po to. We need to have this, right? And this now brings me what will make us overcome this pandemic, this virus as a leader. And there are two most important letters in the word heart. And these are, of course, you have a good guess. The letters H and R of the heart. It means human relationship. And if we neglect these two most important letters, H and R, we are not a leader. And what is the word that remains? It's not heart. It's it, E-A-T. And when you say it, we think more of ourselves and less of others. But putting back the H and the R in the word it, we're thinking more of others and less of ourselves. And that is what leadership is all about. So being in the HR profession, when I say HR profession, anyone who has a subordinate, a staff, more than one or two or three or more, you are a people manager. You are an HR practitioner. Because more than the business, more than that strategy, you need to take good care of your people first, more than the profit. People first, more than the profit. And how? You do it from the heart. And the heart is the guaranteed commonality that we have. You and I has the heart. Whatever you feel, I feel it. Whatever I feel it, you feel it. Right? So dapat hindi tayo gagawa ng isang bagay na ikalulungkot at ikasasakit ng kapwa-tao natin. And that is thinking more of others and less of me. It's more of being assertive rather than aggressive. We always take note of the right of others. Whatever right they have, you also have the same rights. Whatever right you have also the same rights that they have, because God created us equally. And that is one way of protecting the dignity of life. What do we mean by pandemic? P, purpose driven. We always put premium how these actions of mine, how these programs, how these methodologies, how these approaches will benefit others than myself, than my stakeholders. And these benefits is anchored on principles, values, motivation, because we are only stewards. We don't own everything. Pinagkatiwala lang ho sa atin yan. Because at the end of our life, we will account this to our divine creator. Remember the parable of the talents shared by Christ? What did you do with the talent that God gave you? Did you bury the talent, or did you make use of the talent? Next, during this time, it requires agility. Now, it's important that we are able to make quick decision. Okay? But that quick decision must be done with flexibility, not for our own selves, but for the good of everyone. In other words, agility must be value driven, because being agile requires values in order to sustain your being agile, especially during this pandemic. We need to continuously nurture. First and foremost, you need to take good care of yourself as a leader, spiritually, emotionally, physically, socially, mentally, and financially. I have a famous favorite saying, Nemo dat quod non abet. We cannot give what we don't have. That is the meaning of Nemo dat quod non abet. How how can I nurture how can I nurture others if first and foremost I don't nurture myself? Remember, as a leader, you don't only look at yourself, you also look at others. So you also look at the welfare of your family. Okay? So giving unconditional love and affection so that they appreciate and learn to manage their emotions. D means discipline, making the right choices. Because we cannot call someone a leader if that person make easy choices in life. Ah. So you need to have discernment. So think of the consequences before making that choices. And part of leadership role, we need to empower others, continuously inspire and motivate them so that they go beyond what is required. They do more with less. And yun eh, that's the principle, doing more with less without being told, without being reminded. Magugulat ka. They have more to give than to receive. In so doing, as a leader, ganun din ho tayo. We need to give that power to them by making them competent, continuously developing them, training them, guiding them, mentoring them, coaching them. We will not do counseling. For me, the word counseling is a negative approach. Continuously develop, mentor, coach. And I guarantee you, you will never counsel them because they are empowered. Walang pasaway. Why? Because everybody is mindful. Okay? They observe non-judgmentally. They assess objectively. So in other words, let's do a self-reflection. Let's be mindful. Let's observe by not being judgmental so that we adjust. Okay? We adjust to them. You don't expect the majority to adjust. As a leader, we adjust to the majority. We continuously ignite, never give up, because we anchor this on how they are being valued, trusted, respected, because we care for them. And that is because of our heart. Everybody is happily prepared, doing more with less. And lastly, let's be compassionate. Have that genuine feeling. We put ourselves into the shoes of others. eh? We don't measure what we give to them. Okay? We give it to them immensely, like doing more with less, thinking more of others and less of me. We need to have that authentic engagement. And that is what compassion is all about. Okay? Pandemic means purpose driven, agility, nurture, discipline, empower, mindfulness, ignite, and compassion. Let those traits mix and blend well with the air. So, like the butterfly, we cross pollinate this pandemic in a positive way so that we create more leaders in the process. Whether there is COVID-19 or not, because of this pandemic that we learned today, that will remain in the air, not only today, but at the end of this world. Tita Dina, what's your comment, your reflection so far?
It's really fascinating to me how you came up with all these concepts and ideas. So I realize you have really been productively busy. you a lot of ideas are coming up, and I like the concept of this, what we call, is that a weed, or what kind of a weed is this, that somehow it's the seeds are up there in the air, so it will be blown to many different places, it will land to different parts, and then it will grow again.
Yes. And because of those seeds, we focus on the mission and we experience communion. Again, because of these traits that I shared from the coined word pandemic, we are
Oh, okay.
able now to share
Yes.
those things because we think of our mission. Mission
Yeah,
is a Latin word. So
yeah.
what is your mission in life? And that mission needs to be purpose-driven mission. You don't
Oh,
simply do it just because of the what, the how, the where, the when, and the how. I think
yeah.
before we answer those, the what, the how, the where, the when, the how, first thing first, we ask ourselves the why. The why will spell out the mission. And why you are having that mission or that mission. It's not for yourself, it's not for your family, it's for everyone because your family is part of a community. You and me is part of a community. But if we don't know our mission in the community, then definitely there's no use of living in planet Earth. And when I say living, we have that heart. That heart pumps the life. And life gives positivity, gives inspiration. Life means love.
Yeah,
Why
right.
there's love is because of the heart. Again, H and R of the word heart, human relationship. Madaling maging tao, mahirap magpakatao.
Yes, yes.
At ang importante, dapat magpakatotoo ka bilang tao. And that is the essence of heart.
Right, right. So,
So,
I
paano ka
guess,
magiging
yeah,
magpakatao?
yes,
Focus on the mission so that everybody experience communion. Inclusivity and not exclusivity. Diba?
well,
And that is what
that's
leadership is all about.
right. Okay. So I remember now that the weed was the dandelion.
Yes.
It's a lowly weed, and people all over the world try to weed it out. You know, throw it. You know, they stamp on it, they cut it, and they they try to just take it out. But no matter what they do, it grows again. so so
Correct.
that must mean something, that even a lowly dandelion can survive no matter what.
Yes.
So
In fact, these days, the dandelion and other
yeah,
variety are now being used as a decorative ornamental
yeah,
plant decoration inside the house, right?
yeah. Because we are.
So, like what you said,
So Obet, can you have
because
can you have some last thoughts that you want to, ideas that you want to share, because we are nearing the end now. And so what would be a message that, you know, in essence, putting all of this together in essence, so easier for everybody to remember. Of course, I can see the heart there. So what would be that lasting um, thought that you would like people to have?
yeah, thank you so much, Tita Dina. I think I'd like to share this personal quote of mine. It's not what a person says, it's how one does that reveals the true character and motive of heart.
I
I
love
think
it. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love it. Yes, yes,
I think and feel at the end, it
yes.
doesn't matter how famous you are or how big you have done, as long as you did it from the heart.
Mhm, mhm.
And when I say character, it's based on principles and values. There is authenticity.
Yes,
And you don't simply show it for show, you know, but you do it out of love.
yes, yes.
You're willing to sacrifice and to
Right,
give
right.
more
Yes.
than what is required,
This is
no,
truly,
during this pandemic.
yeah. Oh, but this is truly a meaningful anniversary talk that is so touching. Speaking of the heart and motivations, values, and character. So remember that.
Remember, Tita Dina,
Yes,
yes, remember, Tita Dina, we are in this world together as human beings, but never think of yourself alone,
yes,
or you only think of yourself as yourself.
right.
So, like this picture, this person thought only of himself. Okay, he took another route, thinking that is the shortcut, but actually, he took the long cut, because in life we are here either to complement or complete each other, but not to compete.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
And let's continue
Obet.
to create that ripple of positivity,
Yes,
no matter
yes,
how simple or how little that ripple. That if
yes.
we collectively put all those ripple together, we will create that waves.
Right.
And
Yes,
in closing, it's not just about what we have, but why we do what we know.
yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy you were able to come back as our anniversary speaker, knowing that you were our first speaker. So for next week, everybody, I just enjoin everybody who has been with us from the start up to now, and those who are just recent viewers, to click like and subscribe to our Leaders Ed's talk show, and also to watch out for next week. We will have episode number 4 of our season 5, and that's Professor Rene Domingo with his talk on pivoting your career or business to the next normal. So remember, the reason for this talk show is really because we believe learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Good night, everybody.